Welcome back to Cinemania Recapped. The movie begins with a narration that in the year of 1944, a team of paranormal researchers along with U.S. Army rescued a strange creature during a classified mission off the coast of Scotland, and they secretly adopted him. This creature lives among us, and he loves having candies and watching TV, and he was named Hellboy. In 1955, at the Douglas Army Base, we see the time when Hellboy was a young boy and Mr. Broom is seen bringing him up. Mr. Broom asks Hellboy to go to sleep, but he insists him on telling him a bedtime story. Hellboy says if he tells him a story, he will brush his teeth. Therefore, Mr. Broom yields to his obstinacy and opens a box containing a thick book. Now he begins to tell him a story. He narrates that, in the beginning, humans, elves, and other magical creatures used to live together in harmony. When humans were created, they had an abyss of greed which could never be filled with anything, meaning the humans were too much greedy, prompting humans to think only they should rule the earth. Therefore, they waged a war against the magical creatures. Due to the war against the humans, countless elves and goblins lost their lives, causing King Balor to become chapfallen at the sight of the bloodshed. One day, the master of goblin blacksmiths offers the king to form an indestructible golden mechanical army. The King Balor gives him his approval to create such imperishable army. Apart from this, a crown was also formed to control the golden army, and this army could only be controlled by someone of royal blood. This way, the Golden Army is created for the protection of magical creatures. The humans once again attacked the elves, but this time they were devastated by the remorseless army. The Golden Army destroyed each and every human that came to hurt their kingdom. Seeing the bloodshed in the battlefield, King Balor becomes remorseful for the decision he took to have the merciless army created. So he orders to break the magical crown into 3 pieces. One was given to the humans, and the rest of the 2 pieces were kept by the elves, so that the Golden Army can never be awakened again. As per the truce between the humans and the elves, the humans will keep their cities, whereas the magical creatures will keep their forests. But Prince Nuada does not agree with the truce, as he was doubtful of the man's intentions. Therefore, he went into exile, promising that he would return when his people need him most. This way, the Golden Army goes dormant, locked inside the earth, waiting to wake up again. To this day, the army is waiting for the crown to get reformed once again, so that they can wreak havoc one more time. Now Hellboy asks the meaning of indestructible. Then adoptive father says it is something that cannot be destroyed. Hereafter, he orders Hellboy to go to sleep. Down there, Prince Nuada is vindictive and waiting for the time to show up. His faithful troll named Wink comes and he is ready to stand by the prince. At an auction, ancient and priceless things are about to be auctioned. Among these, the royal crown capable of controlling the Golden Army is also here to be auctioned. Just then, the power cuts off. The auctioneer says to the people sitting there, "We have brought a royal crown of Bethmora, coming to us from long-lost culture." That's when Prince Nuada shows up in the assembly hall. The auctioneer asks him to reveal his identity. Then he says, "I am Prince Nuada Silverlance, the son of great King Balor, and I am here to reclaim what is rightfully mine." Wink brings a box containing something very bloodthirsty. Prince Nuada reclaims the royal insignia and asks the gullible people to remember their god for the last time. Saying this, he releases the boxes, containing bone-crushing small creatures called tooth fairies, which kill the people mercilessly. Here we see the headquarters of Paranormal Research and Defense, where Hellboy is now fully grown up, and he is having some issues with his girlfriend named Liz. At that precise moment, the red alert goes off, causing Hellboy and his team to reach the crime spot. Hellboy, along with his team, looks into the scene very carefully. Abe informs Liz that he has found 2 boxes, having royal seals. Thereafter, he tells Hellboy that there is something there apart from them. He notifies Hellboy about the creature called tooth fairies, that all they do is eat and eat. The wall begins to break apart. Afterwards, Abe informs Liz by sensing that she is soon to be a mother. A tooth fairy attacks an agent and tries to get into his body, but Hellboy comes and grabs the little but dangerous creature and squashes it with his stony hand. All the tooth fairies attack Hellboy and other agents and try to eat them alive without leaving any flesh on their bodies. Hellboy, Liz, and other agents do their best to shoot down the creatures, but it didn't seem to work. Hence, Liz awakens her pyrokinetic powers, causing nefarious flying creatures to burn down thoroughly. In this explosion, Hellboy goes flying out of the Manhattan building and falls upon a parked car of the police. Few tooth fairies also get out of the building along with Hellboy. Before they could harm any human being outside, Hellboy shoots them all. Prince Nuada returns to his kingdom, where he is urged to surrender his weapons before entering the council chamber. Prince Nuada refuses to do so, but his twin sister turns up there, causing Nuada to lay down his weapon. In the headquarters, Hellboy watches himself on the TV, seeing which, he rolls in laughter. Tom gets into the room and tells Hellboy that he has put himself into trouble by coming in front of the people of the city, causing Washington to get displeased. Therefore, they are sending us a new member as a new team leader to control you. Here, Prince Nuada appears before his father and vows respectfully before him. King Balor scolds Nuada for what he did at the auction, causing the ancient truce to break with the mankind. Nuada says, "Greed has burned a hole in humans' chests that no one can fill." He tells everything standing there he has returned from his exile to wage a war against the greedy humans. He shows a piece of the magical crown to the king, meaning he wants to awaken the Golden Army once again. Therefore, King Balor says, "You leave me no choice." Saying this, he orders his men to kill Nuada. Nuada skillfully puts everyone to death that comes forward to take away his life. Wink also comes to assist Nuada. While clashing, Prince Nuada starts bleeding. At the same time, Princess Nuala also starts bleeding from her nose, meaning both of them are interlinked by blood. In the end, after killing all the attackers, Prince Nuada does not even spare his father's life and kills him with his sharp spear. He snatches the second piece of the crown from his stone-turned-defunct father. This way, Prince Nuada needs the third and last piece of the crown to awaken the immortal Golden Army. The last piece is held by the Princess Nuala. Therefore, Nuada turns around and finds Nuala nowhere. At the BPRD, everyone is looking forward to seeing the new team leader. This man's name is Johann Kraus, seeing whom everyone is at their wits' end. Now Johann examines the carcass of a tooth fairy and tells everyone that they were brought and sold in the gray market and crammed into cargo containers and smuggled. After that, Dr. Kraus vivifies the departed tooth fairy by his ectoplasmic substance. He tracks down the tooth fairies to the Troll Market, a large merchant city concealed under the Brooklyn Bridge. Abe wears a special type of glasses which help him see the true identity of Hellboy. An elderly lady, who seems to be a human, but actually a goblin, is about to eat a kitten alive. Hellboy, wearing the special glasses, approaches the goblin to stop her. He tells her that he can see her true identity. He asks her to show him the way to the Troll Market, which she refuses to tell. Therefore, Hellboy frightens her by the sight of a canary bird. In compulsion, she takes them to the door of the Troll Market. She refuses to open the door, so Hellboy punches the elderly goblin and sends her flying far away. By ejecting his ectoplasmic substance, Dr. Kraus enters the complicated lock and successfully unlocks it. Everyone reaches the ancient Troll Market filled with different kinds of goblins and mysterious creatures. Obsepian comes across Princess Nuala and finds her with the royal seal. In the next scene, Dr. Kraus is seen asking the whereabouts of tooth fairies. A goblin couple informs him that he can find those tooth fairies in the gray market. Thereafter, Dr. Kraus asks him about the royal seal, seeing which the goblin is pissed off and thinks of harming Mr. Kraus. Meanwhile, Hellboy shows up and punches the goblin in the face for not telling him what he wants to know. The goblin goes flying in the air and crashes afar. Here, Abe is chasing Princess Nuala. Hellboy keeps on slapping the remaining goblin and forces him to tell him who bought the tooth fairies. On being beaten continuously, the goblin reveals to him that those tooth fairies were purchased by Prince Nuada, and by doing so, he has infringed the royal protocol, and rumors has it that he is about to wage a deadly war against the mankind. Abe sees the princess going into an antique shop. In the shop owner hands a map to the princess. By following the map, the Golden Army can be tracked down. Just then, Abe also gets in there. Nuala asks Abe why he has been chasing her for so long. Princess, by sensing Abe's energy, gets to know that he is not a threat for her. Right then, Wink breaks into the shop and comes face to face with Abe. He grabs him and begins to maul him. Before he could do more harm to Abe, Hellboy arrives there and shoots him at his iron-made hand, asking Abe and Nuala to get away from there. Wink jabs Hellboy in the head with his iron fist, causing him to fall down. He was overpowering Hellboy in every way. Here, punches of both abnormal creatures crash into each other. Hellboy knocks down the giant troll and begins to hit him in the face with his stony hand. Wink once again tries to hit Hellboy, but this time, Hellboy dodges his punch, causing his hand to get stuck in the shredder. Ultimately, Wink is swallowed alive by the ruthless machine. A two-headed small creature goes to the prince and informs him about the miserable death of Wink. Princess Nuala reveals that her brother needs the last fragment of the magical crown of Bethmora, as well as the map to awaken the sleeping Golden Army. After a little while, Nuada gets into the picture, reminding Hellboy that he was sent into this world to devastate it, instead blended in with it. After saying this, he takes out a magical seed and throws it towards Hellboy, ordering it to kill him. The pumping seed falls into the water, causing tremors on Earth's surface. Following this, it tears apart the crust and becomes a giant living tree named the Elemental Forest God. Hellboy rescues an infant stuck inside the car and runs towards a safer place. Along with the baby, he gets at a signboard and begins to crawl up. Hellboy, holding the baby in his hand, dodges every attack from the Forest God. He reloads his gun and shoots the living tree, causing him to lean against the building, as it is badly injured. Hellboy is ordered to shoot the Forest God in the head, but he seems to be unwilling to do so. Just then, Prince Nuada shows up and asks Hellboy not to kill the Forest God, as it is the last of its kind. If you killed it, the world would never see it again. Right then, the Forest God charges at Hellboy, compelling him to end the life of the Elemental Forest God by shooting in the head. As soon as the Forest God dies, it spreads the beauty of nature everywhere. Everyone standing around there is enthralled by the beauty of the scene. Despite helping the people, the police point their guns at Hellboy. People standing nearby begin to pelt Hellboy with stones as they consider him a monster. Liz comes up in his support and tells the ingrate people that Hellboy was trying to protect them. People throw pebbles at Hellboy, which makes Liz furious, causing her to arouse her pyrokinetic powers, but Hellboy stops her on time and goes away from there. Inside the BPRD, Princess Nuala finds the map out of coordinates. Here, Abe seems to come closer to the princess, as he has fallen for her at the very first sight. Nuala tells Abe that she has never anyone like him ever before. There, Dr. Kraus asks Hellboy to obey his orders. He tells Hellboy that he can't take his criticism, and this makes Hellboy furious. So, he punches Dr. Kraus in the head. Due to this, the ectoplasmic substance comes out and goes into the nearby shelves. Mr. Kraus starts teaching Hellboy a lesson by hitting him again and again until he becomes guilt-ridden. Hellboy also comes to know about Abe's feelings for the princess. Abe tells him that the princess is all alone in this world and he has to look after her. At this time, Nuala is in her room and feels the presence of Prince Nuada, who has arrived outside of the headquarters. Princess rushes to the fireplace to burn the map, which has the coordinates to track down the Golden Army. Afterwards, she hides the last fragment of the magical crown in a book. Here, Abe and Hellboy are completely intoxicated and unaware of Nuada's arrival at the headquarters. Prince breaks into the room and tells his sister that there is no point in burning the map. Now, as soon as Nuada rolls out the cylinder, the coordinates appear automatically. He tells Princess Nuala that he knows very well that she has the last piece of the crown and she has hidden it. Therefore, he begins to look for it by searching the books one by one. Meantime, Abe, Hellboy, and other agents arrive at the hall. Prince Nuada charges at Hellboy with his sharp spear. Both the warriors engage in a battle. Hellboy had no answer to the fighting skills of the prince. Nuada critically wounds Hellboy with his spear. He kidnaps his sister and asks Abe to bring him the last piece of the magical crown if he has to see the princess again. In the medical room, Abe tries to remove the spear shard, but it was stuck deep inside his chest. Abe finds the last piece of the crown in a book which was hidden by the princess. He takes and keeps it with himself. Mr. Krauss also finds out the exact location of the Golden Army with the help of the map. He says that the Golden Army is hidden in County Antrim of Northern Ireland. Hence, Liz, Abe, and Dr. Krauss head off towards County Antrim, taking wounded Hellboy with them. On reaching there, they find no one in the wasteland, but soon a goblin shows up and says, "How may I assist you?" Liz says, "We seek a safe passage to Bethmora as we have to meet Prince Nuada." Goblin says, "What would you give me in exchange?" The goblin demands for the spear shard stuck in Hellboy's chest. Liz agrees to it. Therefore, the goblin blows the whistle. Hearing the whistle, a giant stone man gets up and opens a door in its abdomen for them to enter it. Liz, Abe, and Hellboy walking down the aisle see a ruined city. The goblin tells the visitors that as soon as the Golden Army was stored here, a plague of silence and death befell them. The goblin takes Hellboy and Liz to the Angel of Death, who had been awaiting their arrival. Hellboy falls unconsciously on the ground. The Angel of Death already knew the real name of Hellboy and addresses him as Anung Unrama. Liz pleads with the angel to save his life. The Angel of Death reveals to Liz that it is his destiny to bring about the destruction of the earth. Not now, not tomorrow, but soon enough. You have to choose between the world and him. So she chooses Hellboy. Then the Angel of Death reanimates Hellboy by taking out the spear shard. The angel asks Liz to give Hellboy a reason to live. Then, Liz whispers into his ears and tells him that he must get up, as he is about to be a father. Hearing this, Hellboy comes back to life. The goblin asks the duo to leave at once, if they have to see Prince Nuada. Hellboy, along with Liz and Ab, goes upstairs. Prince Nuada shows up with his sister and asks Abs if he has brought the last piece of the crown. Abe shows it and throws towards the prince, who grabs it quickly. He connects the last piece to the incomplete crown and makes it complete. He wears the crown on his head. As soon as he puts on the crown, he claims to be the master of the Golden Army from this moment onwards. Down there, the indestructible Golden Army starts waking up. Meaning, up there, no one is safe, excluding the prince and the princess. The Golden Remorseless Army begins to approach its master. Prince Nuada orders the army to kill Hellboy and his team. Hellboy counterattacks them and shoots the soldiers one by one. Dr. Krauss also takes control on one of the soldiers and begins to destroy other soldiers. He does away with a few soldiers, but meantime, other Golden Army soldiers kill him. The killed soldiers magically begin to repair themselves, proving the point that they are actually indestructible. Hellboy understands the gravity of situation and challenges Prince Nuada for the lordship of the Golden Army. Therefore, the prince had to accept the challenge unwillingly. The Golden Army stands aside and both Hellboy and Prince Nuada come face to face for the second time. Both try to put each other to death, fighting until one is defeated or killed. During the clash, Hellboy injures Nuada, causing him to bleed. Just then, Nuala also begins to bleed as both are interconnected by blood. Prince leaves no stone unturned to do away with Hellboy. Nuada casts Hellboy onto the moving wheel, but he escapes. In the end, Hellboy defeats Nuada in the battle. Instead of killing him, he spares his life and takes off his crown. In return, Nuada tries to stab Hellboy in the back. Princess Nuala commits suicide to stop Nuada. There, Nuala is nearing her death in the hands of Ab. In her last moments, Abe tells her that he never had a chance to tell her how much he loved her. Nuala asks Abe to give his hand, feeling which she comes to know that Ab has always loved her. On the other side, Prince Nuada turns into stone and later breaks into pieces, meaning he is no more. Now, the crown is in the hands of Hellboy, making him the new master of the Golden Army. Liz takes it and melts down so that the Golden Army could never be awakened again. The Golden Army goes dormant once again. After this, Hellboy, Liz, and Dr. Krauss and Abe resign from the BPRD. In the closing scene of the movie, Hellboy ponders over his future with Liz and their baby, where Liz corrects him, saying it's babies, meaning she is pregnant with twins, and with this happy ending, this movie comes to an end.